Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me for another issue of Marty's Midweek Momentum. Midweek Momentum is all about ideas, strategies, and tactics to propel your business forward, and we meet every Wednesday at midweekmomentum.com. So today we're going to talk about Pinterest, and I've got some Pinterest pointers for you, and we're going to be sharing some information about Pinterest that you may not have been aware of, and as far as how to use it and why you'd want to use it, and of course a few ideas and tips and tricks that you may not hear other places, which is kind of what I specialize in. All right, so first of all, what is Pinterest? Pinterest is essentially a bulletin board online. So if you ever think about the laundromat when you were in college, or the corner, you had a bulletin board on the corner where people would post different things, flyers, etc. It's sort of like that. But you can also think about it as a great big refrigerator that everybody posts on the front of their refrigerator their most precious things that they're most interested in. It might be photographs of family. It might be dream cars. It might be special announcements or events and invitations. Those are the kind of things that you would pin or use a magnet to the front of your refrigerator or pin to a bulletin board. They are things of interest to you. And that is exactly what Pinterest is. It's just an online bulletin board. But the difference is, instead of posting it to your refrigerator or offline posting it to a bulletin board at the college laundromat, everybody can see what you pin to Pinterest. But it's not any more complicated than that. It's just a bulletin board. Think of it like Twitter, but with pictures instead of words. And every few minutes, your stream of information changes depending on what people are pinning at the time. But it's really that simple. And one of the frustrations I always have with social media is people try and make things so much more complicated than it is. And Pinterest does not need to be complicated. So it's just a big bulletin board that everybody can see. That's it. All right. So why should you care about this great big bulletin board out there in the ether? Well, let's talk about that a little bit. So first of all, why you should care is that Pinterest registered more than 7 million unique visitors in December, and that's up from 1.6 million in September. And they're now, actually the latest report that I just saw this morning is showing 11 million members. That's pretty good growth for only a few months. More than 1 in 4 users of Pinterest earns more than $100,000 a year. If you're a marketer, you certainly want to be reaching people who have money to spend. Well, they might be on Pinterest. Here is the cool thing. It's pulling more traffic to company websites and blogs than YouTube, Google+, and LinkedIn combined. That's huge. All right, research shows that many people are spending more time pinning than they are connecting with their friends on Facebook. Now, if anybody here has ever been addicted to Facebook or knows somebody who is addicted to Facebook, it's hard to imagine people spending more time on Pinterest than they are on Facebook. But I can assure you, Pinterest is highly addictive, and people are spending a lot of time there. They're interacting and engaging very heavily there. And I even spend about, I'd say a week quasi-addicted to it myself, and I had to wean myself off by being very disciplined about my social media activities. But it's incredibly addictive. All right, now how can you use Pinterest in your business and leverage some of that traffic and some of those high-income users? So first of all, you want to create boards that match your business interests. So what are the types of things that your business is all about? You want to create boards that match those, and I'll show you how to create a board in a few minutes. You want to use striking and original images. Pinterest is nothing but pictures from top to bottom. And so if your pictures are not really great, people will overlook them. So you want to use great imagery. You want to repin, comment, and like a lot. Now, does comment and like sound familiar? Sure it does. It came straight from Facebook. Repin would be the same thing as share on Facebook. Again, this is not super complicated. Repin means that you're going to take somebody's picture, that they've posted on their profile, and you're going to repin it on your profile for everyone that you know to see. And that spreads virally, and people who you repin will repay the favor and repin your images, and it develops social reciprocity. Comment and like are the same things. And you want to do that as much as possible. You want to interact and engage. Now, remember to think SEO. That's search engine optimization. I just touched on this last week, I think, or the week before, when I was talking about LinkedIn and how it's really a search engine for your profile. YouTube is really a search engine. Pinterest is very much the same way. If you think about it like a search engine, you'll be very successful. The descriptions that you write for images are very important because you can search on Pinterest and people are searching there. And so if you want your images to be found and clicked on, which you do, think SEO or search engine optimization. And my last tip about how to use Pinterest in your business is try not to get addicted. One of the complaints I hear about a lot when I'm talking to businesses about social media marketing is it's a waste of time, or I don't have time to do it. And when I dig deeper with my clients or prospects and they say something like that, I always ask them, well, how much time are you spending? And I'll get answers that are like, oh, an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours a day. And I say, then you're doing it wrong. And generally I uncover a little further and I find out they've got some games downloaded and they're actually not working on social media. They're playing on social media. Again, Pinterest is a bit addictive, so you need to make sure that you're setting time limits. We've talked about that in the past. Set 10, 15 minutes. Set a timer if you need to. Go into the social networking tool that you're using for that 10 or 15-minute block. Engage, and then log out of it. Do not keep it open on your screen while you're trying to do other things, or you will never get anything done. Right, so that's a little bit about Pinterest. Those are just some highlights. What I want to do now is go ahead and switch the screen over and show you my Pinterest account, and so that you can see a little bit about how it works. So let me switch over here, and you should be seeing, there we go, and the screen just switched over. So this is my Pinterest account. I'm logged into it, and this would be my Pinterest stream. Again, think of it very much like Twitter or Facebook. This would be like me seeing the walls of all my friends streaming by as they are posting different things to Pinterest. And so when I refresh it, which I'm doing right now, the images will change because as people are adding images, they get put on the top of the screen and the older images get shoved down. So you're basically going into Pinterest and you're looking for images that fit your various business applications. So how do you get started? You get an account. You open an account. You need an invitation, by the way, to join Pinterest. You can't just log in and get it, open an account. You still need an invitation. If you'd like an invitation, send me a note, and I'll send you an invitation so that you can get set up. Then all you need to do is go in and set up an account. And the first thing you want to do is you want to set up some boards. And again, a board is just like the bulletin board that we were talking about earlier, and you can name boards to match what you are doing. And these are the boards that I have so far. I have 10 of them. I have one called My Awesome Clients, which is not complete yet. I've got a bunch more work to do on there. I'm putting all of my clients with a picture on there and a link back to their website. So this has got a lot of work to do. I have one called Funny, which is very popular. My Wish List, one called Business, Weather and Sky, Images I Love, which are just cool images. They don't have anything to do with business. They're just cool images. Deep Thoughts, which are oftentimes philosophical, sometimes inspirational, and sometimes just funny. Scouts, for those of you who know me well, you know that I'm a very dedicated Boy Scout leader, and I have 2 sons in Scouts, and Scouting is very important to our family, so I've got a board for Scouts. Cool places I like, so this is a bulletin board full of places I've either been or want to go. And speaking, training, and teaching, which again is another one I've got a bunch of stuff to add in there. I just haven't put it on there yet, but those are some of my categories. So all you have to do is create a board, And you can see how you can edit them, no problem. And if I wanted to add a new board in, you simply, well, how do you add a new board? That's funny, I can't find the button all of a sudden. There we go, rearrange. All right, so we're going to, oh, this is to rearrange them. This is kind of embarrassing because all of a sudden there was a button right there. Oh, there we go, the add button. Okay, so you can create a board with the add button, upload a pin, or add a pin. So to create a board, as I mentioned, you can create one on any topic. So let's say I wanted to create a board and call it Midweek Momentum. So we'll do that, and we'll create it. And we're going to put a category on it, which is education. Hopefully the Midweek Momentum is educational for you. And there it is, and it exists. Okay, so now, how do we add a pin? All right, there's two different ways you can add a pin. Either you can upload a pin, which is where you would actually upload a picture straight from your hard drive. So if there's a picture that you owned and had the copyright to, that's what you would want to upload. Please do not upload pictures that you do not own the copyright. There are a ton of people doing that, and there are starting to be some legal issues with people who are uploading copyrighted images. So don't upload a copyrighted image. Only upload your own images. All right. Another way to add a pin is right here, this button that says Add a Pin. Now this is the critical one for business owners, and here's why. When I click that button, what comes up is this little screen that's actually a URL. And this is how you can link back to websites or blog posts and generate traffic to them. Now you must link to a website or blog post that contains a picture, because Pinterest is all about images. So I'm going to give you an example. This is a blog post. No, it's not, because I switched over because I was doing something else right before the call. So this is a blog post right here called 14-Year-Old Buys Her First Investment Property. What's your excuse? And I just blogged about this day before yesterday, and I have not posted that to Pinterest yet. Now this blog post does contain an image. And if you've been on Midweek Momentum very long, you know that every one of your blog posts should contain an image, and those images should be tagged, right? Right. All right. So I grab the URL by copying it here. I go back to my Pinterest, and I paste it here. And then this button right here says Find Images. And here's what happens. Pinterest will take a moment, and it will go and it'll scan the page that you just sent or submitted, and it will find images. Now, if you have more than one image on the page, that's okay. It will find all of the images on there. So as you can see my screen, you can see that the main image, which is the one I want to post, comes up first, but also it will find other images on your page that are there. Now this one, because I only had one, that's the only one that it pulled up. But if I had 3 or 4, it would pull those up as options. So I have the link here. I have the image here. And now I pick a category. And this is about business. So I'm going to click business. And then you have to describe it. And this is where you have to think search engine optimization, right? So I know that that particular blog post is getting a lot of search engine traffic. And it's Florida 14-year-old buys investment property. And her name is, I have to look up her name because that's actually getting a lot of search engine traffic, Willow Tofano. So I'm going to grab her name and paste it right into there. It's Willow Tofano. Okay, so now what have I done? I have pasted the URL. Pinterest has gone and found the image. I have categorized it as business, and I've put in search engine optimization friendly description, and now I just click pin it. And Pinterest will go out and automatically gather up that image and post it into Pinterest. And I will show it to you now in my business bulletin board. So you can see this is my business bulletin board. Here's some of the other images that I've posted from different blog posts, etc. And there is my image. Now here's the cool thing. Watch this. Click on that image, and it expands it. And this would happen with anybody else who saw the image in their stream. They click on the image again, and you will see it opens a new window, and boom, sends them right to my blog. That's where the traffic comes from. It comes from people seeing the images that you're posting. They click on them because they're interested in them, and then it takes them to your website or blog, and that's how you get traffic on Pinterest. All right, it's as simple as that, not complicated at all. One other thing that I mentioned is about how to repin, and that is something that I want to encourage you to do. So I showed you how to post your own images, particularly ones that are tied to your website or blog. And then the other thing I mentioned was repinning, and I'll show you how to do that. So the first thing I would do is I would come through here and I would find an image that I really liked. I like this image right here that says, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. I happen to agree with that sentiment. So I'm going to do two things. If you can see my screen right now, I'm going to open it up just a little bit. So let's zoom in just a bit. There we go. And where'd it go? All right. I'm going to like it. So I just click the little like button. Boom. There, that's done. And then I'm going to click the repin button. Remember, repin is just like share. Now, when I click repin, it pops up with the same menu that you saw before, and it asks me to pick a category. Now, I'm going to put this in deep thoughts, because that seems like a pretty deep thought. And then you want to put in a comment. Okay? So I'm going to say, in my experience, I've found this to be true. And then I click pin it, and now I have repinned it. The original person that pinned this was Paula Newman, and now Paula Newman is going to get a note that says, I have repinned her post. And that creates social influence, and that's the social networking side of Pinterest. So that is today's tip about Pinterest. I hope that you got a few ideas out of it. Again, this was just a 30,000-foot view. Didn't want to get too complicated with it. Pinterest is pretty fun, quite addictive, and as I talked about in the statistics, it's growing rapidly, and people are using it for business. So I hope you enjoy. My name is Marty Fahncke, and this has been Midweek Momentum.